Right now, Apex 2025 is taking place. Brad Garlinghouse and Monica Long are both on stage and taking questions. In some of my most recent posts and videos, I've played different clips, but this is the first time I've watched the whole thing. It seems like 30 minutes, so come with me as I do this live. When I think it's important, I'll tell you what my library does and why. Thanks for being here, guys. Thanks so much for all the support I've been seeing online lately. I feel bad for you all. Thanks a lot. Let's play this now. I think you guys could have a fun party here if you were famous. It could be Monty, Brad, or Branica. I'm not sure which ones worked for you. That's different. That's not something I've heard. That's fine. I also don't think he'll get it. Yes, most likely not. Okay, you've both worked at Ripple for a while now. More than 10 years. Also, Monica, just quickly, what made you decide to join Ripple all those years ago in 2013? Chris Larsson, one of the co-founders and a respected executive chairman of the board, did it. Chris, I knew Chris from when he was the founder and CEO of Prosper. Chris has started several financial businesses before. The founders of Elona in 1990s, Prosper in the early 2000s, and then Ripple. And I think you can say that he is one of those guys. As if he were a real prophet. It's like decades away from now that he can see where the world is going. Back in the summer of 2013, I remember getting together with him again, and he was so excited. He was very happy about how Bitcoin was changing the world of digital gold and how XRP Ledger would be a new way for everyone to pay for things. That's what he meant by Internet of Value. This is what everyone in the business world is talking about now. I think he means that way back then. In fact, he was the one who made me want to join. Wonderful. For you, it was 2 years, and then you joined a few years later. Yes, I joined because Monica was there. In fact, it's a pretty funny story. I learned about Bitcoin in 2012 and put a little money into it, but I've always had this, and this isn't an anti-Bitcoin message. I believe in Bitcoin. Every time I say something, I'm afraid that someone will say, "Ooh, Brad is against Bitcoin." I'm not, but I remember thinking that this anti-banking thing might be Bitcoin's weak spot against the government. To this day, I still don't think we'll have a different parallel system. A lot of links will be built between standard finance and what we now call decentralized finance. A recruiter called me about Ripple when I was being hired. I remember the recruiter asking, "Have you heard of Ripple?" I told lies and said yes, but please tell me what they do and really mean. And Monica might remember this. I think he was talking about a payments company and I told him I wasn't good at payments. I gave them names of PayPal and Visa employees I knew and tried to pass the job off to someone else. The recruiter made fun of me because I wasn't working at the time. It makes him wonder what else you're up to. Like, just come in and talk to Chris. The same goes for me as Monica. I mean, Chris is one of those guys who can see around corners. It's like everyone has their own abilities. One thing that I think has worked really well is the way Chris, Monica, and I work together. And that Chris sees around turns and we try to figure out if we can get there. And his ideas about this Internet of Value have been very consistent. It's still not clear to me how big of a change that could and will be in the way the world works. I also believe it will bring many benefits to the business world, Ripple, and XRP. It's cool to see that Brad Garlinghouse did it. He did want to give the job to someone else, right? He didn't know anything, before starting his job at Ripple, he didn't know much about payments, but he knew how to run a business, and that people would follow him. I want to think about what Ripple at XRP would be like now if Brad Garlinghouse wasn't there. I'm not sure if I'd be as interested without it. I mean, he's been a great leader and I look up to him all the time in this area. He seems to have a good head on his shoulders. For Ripple to have Monica Long on their team, I think they have a great group of people. I feel like it's unique. It seems unique. This company, this one company, makes me feel different when I look at the crypto space. I have 2 more fun stories to tell about that time. You did have a job. I drove for Uber. You drove for Uber. He was in some places with his friends to test them. If possible, I was bored and looking for business possibilities. I remember that very well. Then Ashish Birla, GM of RippleNet and our head of product for a long time. But both he and I were thrilled to meet Brad and hoped that he would join Ripple. His big break from Yahoo came from the peanut butter declaration. Yahoo lost its edge because it wasn't focused on what it did best, like Yahoo. It seemed like a great idea to Ashish and me that the XRP ledger it was like trying to find a nail with a hammer. We needed a boss to keep the business on track and make sure we didn't lose sight of our goals until we found the right product market fit. And now we are. I was going to say that it is interesting. Really is. Good. Isn't it interesting? That advice is very important. Where would Ripple be without it? Brad Garlinghouse knew that Yahoo failed because they tried to do too many things at once. That's why Ripple has been so careful, right? They were eager to get in and fix FX and cross-border payments. That was something they were able to do. Then they made private ledgers for central banks all over the world because they knew that's what their buyers wanted. Once that was done, they worked with partners from all over the world to make the tokenization of financial assets possible. You have the Hong Kong Monetary Authority working with Fubon Bank on some tokenized HELOCs projects as an example of this, right? A process that would normally take months to finish, you can now do it in 5 minutes or less and get approved right away. And these unique options and points of view are what Ripple is really interested in. They want to get good at something and then move on to something else. I love that about them. You likely didn't expect that question when you asked it. We are going to take all the time. It was risky, but yeah. Many of the people here seem to know a little more about you now. As time goes on, they'll get more. However, I think we should play a quick fire round to keep things going. You could say it's a game of overlooked and overrated. That's why I'll put a phrase or word there along with a simple question. Do you think it's overlooked or over? Let's begin with some simple questions. Lawyers who work with crypto? All right, Brad, you never said that Stu Alderati isn't praised enough. It's possible that lawyers in crypto are underrated, but I don't think so. It's not true that all crypto lawyers are great. I've met some bad ones. On the other side of the SEC case, those are SEC lawyers making what you think are full points. They weren't very good players, in my opinion. And, as the judge said, they were not following the rules to the letter. I think those lawyers are too good to be true. Okay. I was going in a different way with this. As a kid, you wished you could be a lawyer? Look into this some more as well. So this is me when I was a kid. I think I was 10 or 12 years old. You really don't know anything. But for me, my grandfather worked as a lawyer in the telecom business, and I was really impressed by what I saw of his job. I decided I wanted to become a lawyer. Monica now thinks it's just that I like to fight. Yes, he does. Yes, that was my first draft. That's what I thought. But as you go along that path, you realize, I don't know what we want to do when we're kids compared to what we did. There is a space most of the time. It is, yes. This is something I ask a lot. I'm interested. Have you ever wanted to be something as a child but just never got the chance? Do you still want to be that thing? Let me tell you one thing. As a child, I always wished I could fly, attack planes. I don't have the body. It's really hard for me to do those kinds of jobs because I've had a lot of surgeries. But I just imagine how easy it must be to fly at 700 or 1,000 miles per hour in a jet. That seemed like the best idea to me. That being said, please tell me a little about yourself below. I'd love to know what you were trying to accomplish as a child, and maybe if you're still able to do that today. But I think the next one was actually for you, orthopedic doctors who work